Hello, it's Jennifer from Sealemon. I'm continuing on with my series of flipping thrifted books, and in my last video you all gave such great recommendations and ideas for what to do with these books. For my next project I want to tackle the coffee bean title. I usually like to incorporate the past life of the book some way in the new life of it, so coffee is the theme here, and I am someone who loves coffee. I like coffee shops, so I have some ideas brewing that I want to try, and I will take you along with me in the process. I think the hardcovers are in good condition for reuse, but the pages inside are not really my favorite kind of paper to work with. They're thin and slightly yellowing, so that made me want to see if they were acidic with my pH pen, and since it shows up purple, that means it's not acidic. So I'm guessing the paper is just, that's the way it is, it's off-white. I do see some illustrations that I like and some of the sayings, so maybe I'll use some of the pages in the new books, and I could also cut out some of the illustrations and glue them onto new pages. Okay, here is my plan I'm thinking at the moment. I'm removing the board from the book, and I'm going to cut them in half to make two small hardcover books. And I want to rewrap the chipboard in new paper. I did notice the book had water damage when I bought it, and the black paper seeped through the board and stained it. I think it's okay to work with still, especially since I'm recovering them. I'm cutting each board in half, so I have a front and back cover for a small book, and this will give me two books, which I decided to turn into a coffee junk journal and a tea junk journal. I'm using this paper for the coffee cover. It reminds me of like the swirls of cream and coffee, and then this one for the tea because I like a lot of fruit tea. I am still experimenting with the library corner technique, so I'm sanding the edges of these boards slightly, and if you're not familiar with this, I'll link a great tutorial up here, and gluing each board to the scrapbook paper. While letting all the covers completely dry under some weight, I'm moving on to the pages. For the tea book pages, I decided to experiment a little with some fruity tea and staining the paper, and I did this in a live stream. If you missed it, you can go check it out on my channel. I made some really simple patterns with the cherry tea and raspberry and peach, and there was some blueberry tea in there. It was a really fun project, and I had fun hanging out with you all, so maybe I'll try something like this again. After these dried, I noticed that the color of the cardstock paper would change the color of the tea, so it was interesting to see the results of these. And now I have more variety to add to my tea junk journal. For the coffee book, I want to do the same thing and stain some pages with coffee, which I have on hand. And when I'm done with this bag, I can also cut it up and glue it into its junk journal. I put about a tablespoon in some hot water to concentrate the color of it. Inspired by the waves of the cover, I'm going to try some wavy coffee stain patterns on this cardstock. And I'm also painting with some of the coffee grounds because I'm curious to see if that leaves an interesting texture or extra pigment to the paper. I know that coffee staining paper can make your book more acidic, but since this is going to be a junk journal and messy, I'm okay with it being less archival. This one I got more messy and did like a cliche coffee mug ring stain. And this reminded me of a circle lock pattern, and so I decided to try that on the back of the pink paper. I haven't made this kind of pattern in so long, and I do have a video for it. If you've been here for a long time, maybe you'll remember it, but I explain it much better in this video if you ever want to try out this pattern on your projects. After these dried, I brushed off the coffee grounds, and I did notice that it didn't leave any interesting texture or anything, and I'm not sure it left any more pigment, and maybe I didn't need to leave them on. But they did turn out to be fun pages that I can use in this book. And out of curiosity, I did test if the coffee made the paper more acidic, and it looks like it didn't. This was light roast, so maybe that is less acidic to paper. For the coffee book, I'm going with a pink and brown theme for the pages, and I do like a deckled edge, so I'm trimming all of them to the same size using a ruler. Also including some of the original pages from the coffee bean book, and I did the same process with the fruity tea paper. In case you didn't know, I do have a Zazzle shop that's full of my own scrapbook paper designs. You can check it out right here. But since I have so many fruity designs, I thought that would work well within the tea book. Now that I have all my pages ready and covers, it's time to bind. I think coil binding could work well with these because it gives enough room to have some bulk on the pages. Plus, I do have a cinch that I need to use more, so I think this is the perfect project for it. I'm using this past book that I made as a reference, and this was the first project that I used the cinch tool on. I initially had trouble punching thick chipboard, and a lot of people left comments that I wasn't using enough leverage, and you were absolutely right. My workbench is at waist height, which doesn't give me enough leverage to push the lever down. So I found that placing this tool on a lower table or even the floor works a lot better, and it was able to punch through 2mm thick chipboard. It's important to follow the guide that is on the mini cinch tool so you get the right measurements of holes. Unfortunately, I did make a mistake on this board and I did punch through the wrong area because I didn't follow that guide. So lesson learned, take it from me, follow that guide and do a test punch before you do your final project. I was able to save it. It just has some wider holes on the back cover. It still works. And have you seen the new cinch? They have since come out with 2 new cinch tools. If you have any of these cinch tools, let me know how you like it in the comments. After the covers, I did bring it back up to the workbench to do the pages, punching through a few pages at a time and keeping them in the order that I want them to be in the final book. I'm using a gold wire coil for both books. The way I like to do it is I put the back cover on first with the front cover on top of it, and the inside is facing up. And then I put on the pages in the order that I want, starting from front to back. Then trimming off the excess wire and closing the coil with the same tool. And this leaves the bulky part of the coil on the inside of the back cover. And did the same thing for the coffee book. The pages in these mini books are about 3.5 by 4.5 inches, and each book has about 25 pages. And since they are mini, I can use a hair tie for the closure. They could hang out on my coffee table when they're not in use as something fun to look at, and for the tea journal, I could put tea bag tags on the pages. Tea boxes usually have nice designs, so I could cut those up and glue them into the pages. I can doodle, paint, draw. Pretty much any food packaging has interesting artwork, so it lends itself well to junk journals. The coffee shops I go to usually have stickers available and interesting food packaging, so those could work well with these pages. Or even like the sticker that your coffee cup comes with your order on it. You could peel that off the cup and stick it in here. And of course, a little hint of the previous book in the pages. Let me know if you want to see a flip through of these books when I'm done, and a big thanks to my members and patrons for supporting this channel. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. If you want to learn more, check out the links in the description, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye!